Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical. Hope everybody's doing good. Okay, here's the scenario. You leave the house, and in your waistband or wherever you carry it is your trusty, reliable 32 caliber semi-automatic handgun that you haven't cleaned in the last 8 months because you didn't watch my videos about gun maintenance. And you're gonna head over to Bed Bath & Beyond because you want to smell good, because you like the way that shit makes you smell all frilly. But you realize that you're running low on petrol, so you decide you're going to stop and get some gas. You pull in to the gas station, pull up to the pump, you get out, you're sliding your card through the credit card thingamajig. You look up and there's a big black guy. Yeah, I know, I said it. On Martin Luther King Day, I'm gonna make my suspect black, because as all the liberals will tell you, I must be a racist. Just look at him. And this big 6'6" black guy standing in front of you, and he says,
"Yo, man, I didn't like the way you was looking at me at the red light, man."
and you're like, what? I don't remember seeing you.
"Yeah, when I'm fitting to beat your white ass, motherfucker."
What do you do next? Think about it. Think about it. What do you do? Well, you got your old trusty 32 that may or may not fire because you don't clean it, right? So, do you reach for your weapon? Do you step back and reach for your weapon? Do you assume a boxer stance? Do you ball up your fist? Do you puff out your chest? What do you do? I want to hear it. I want you to tell me, what do you do in that scenario? I can't hear you. Now, that's just one scenario. I could come up with a million more that are possible and likely, and things like that have happened to me.
"Hey, man, what you looking at, fool? I'm finna bust your ass."
You know, and I'm always carrying a gun on me. So here, I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts on this for what they're worth. And I'm going to give you the disclaimer. I probably will put it at the beginning of the video. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not authorized to give legal advice, and I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just a dude on YouTube who wants you to start thinking about this. You think about it now ahead of time. Every scenario is different, but it's it's critical that you consider these things that I'm talking about here. Ask these questions, and if you're not happy with the answers that you either have or don't have, or you heard from some dude on YouTube, consult somebody who's got some legal training and can speak to these issues. But I'm going to tell you, from my standpoint, my experience, because somebody is getting ready to beat your ass in most states is not justification for you to escalate things into deadly force. You can't blow some dude away because he's getting ready to pound in your ass. Sometimes you got to just take the ass whipping. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, and I'm probably going to get some pushback. But the reality is, if you shoot, and just think of what was that guy's name, Zimmerman. Look at the shit he went through. And that thing could have gone any way, that trial. And remember, juries are unpredictable. And when you look at the political climate today, the anti-gun sentiment, you got to figure that anytime you end up in court, and if you bust a cap, you're going to end up in court. Make sure you know that. I've done videos on that. You're going to be in for a world of shit in terms of stress and trying to hold on to your freedom and your property in terms of lawsuits. And so, you know, you can expect a couple years of civil and criminal proceedings. if you shoot somebody, whether you kill them or not. Sometimes it's worse if they're still alive, because that's just how it seems to work out legally and civilly. But I want you to go through these scenarios in your head and picture yourself in the aftermath. Picture yourself in front of a judge and a jury, trying to justify why you stopped a person's life or paralyzed them from the neck down. What was your justification? So what am I supposed to do about it, Mike? Look, man, I don't have all the answers. I'm just a guy walking his dog. No, look. These are the things you need to go through in your head, because I don't know what state you're in. I don't know the state laws. I don't know what country. You may be watching this from some other country. Because I'm so worldly and so world famous. But the bottom line is, you have to think ahead of these things so that you're prepared for the event and the aftermath. Welcome to the world of law enforcement, where cops can't just think about shooting a guy. They got to think about whether or not it's justifiable, what the background is, all the things you need to be thinking about. Now, there is such thing as extenuating circumstances for each scenario. In the gas station thug coming up to you, is he holding a mallet? Is he holding a weapon? That changes things. Is there a way for you to escape? You understand, you don't need to confront this guy. If he comes up and he gets in your face, can you back off? Always keeping your tactical edge, knowing where your weapon is. Don't display it unless you're ready to use it. You remember, you want to have the element of surprise, or you'll end up getting killed with your own weapon if it fires because you haven't cleaned it. Does he have a weapon visible? Now, what about this? And I've covered this in the past, but, some of this stuff's worth repeating. Are you 5'2" and the dude's my size, 6'4"? These are things that are going to come into play. While it may not be justifiable for you to use deadly force against somebody that's just trying to smack you around, in most places, the law does not require you to sustain great bodily injury before you defend yourself. So are you a woman? Are you a frail person? Are you in a wheelchair? These things are all things that are going to be taken into consideration when a jury has endless amount of time to go over a decision that you had to make in 2 seconds. If you're lucky, if you have time. Take a guy like me. Just look at me. I'm the most intimidating looking motherfucker on the face of the earth if you didn't know me. Because you can't tell that I've sustained a broken back, a broken neck. I have a metal plate holding my neck together. I've got rods and screws in my leg and my knee. I have some pretty grievous injuries that pretty much render me unable to be rolling around on the ground in a fight. So those are things that are going to have to be taken into consideration when I make the decision as to whether or not I can get away, or do I want to bring this to the next level. So my point of the video is, when it comes down to a shoot or don't shoot situation, you're going to have to articulate. You're going to have to be able to articulate every move you make from the beginning of the situation. What did you know about the suspect in terms of the threat? What other circumstances came into play as to whether or not you decided to use deadly force in terms of your physical ability or inability? Again, you can't kill people just because they're going to punch you in the face. You have to be able to articulate that you were in reasonable, which is a very important term when you're in a courtroom. You have to articulate that it was reasonable belief that if you did not resort to deadly force, you were going to sustain great bodily harm or death. Generally, if you can meet those criteria with a yes answer, then you're good to go in terms of resorting to deadly force. You're not required to lay there and get pounded into the ground. And again, that's what Zimmerman's defense was. But remember, they also looked at, him following the suspect. In other words, did he put himself in the position? And I don't want to relitigate that case. But, if you're engaging in conflict with the suspect. Let's say he comes by and he's like, what the hell are you looking at? And you're like, hey, fuck you, punk. In a way, it can be argued in court that you're kind of escalating things. So you don't want to be that guy that kills or cripples somebody unnecessarily, because you will definitely, going to jail will be the least of your worries. You'll lose everything that you own. You'll lose all your money for the rest of your life. The courts are relentless against people that carry weapons, unfortunately. That's the world we're living in. Now, it might be a little different in, Beaumont, Texas, than it would be if you were in, California somewhere where it's run by liberals. So, to end the video, I just want you guys to give some deep consideration. Have it in your head that you know exactly what line will be crossed when you will resort to deadly force. And I hope that you include in these scenarios that you play in your mind, that you make sure you're aware of the background, so you don't shoot at somebody and hit somebody else, that you're justified in the shooting, that there is no avenue of escape for you, that you have to make sure that it would be unreasonable for you to turn and run in the circumstances, because that would put you in more danger. Give these things some thought, get them in your head, go through these scenarios ahead of time. You don't want to be working this shit out in the middle of a fucking gun battle, okay? And remember, if you shoot somebody that's unarmed, God be with you. You better hope to God you can justify it. I'm not saying that it's not something you can justify. I mean, if a guy sees your weapon and he's trying to fight you for the weapon, or he's trying to take your weapon, or he's bigger and stronger, or he's using rocks, whatever. But get it through your head now as to what it's going to take for you to resort to deadly force. And you'll save yourself a whole lot of grief. I hope this video has been of some use, and if not, there's a pink ass just above my legs and just below my belt, and you can feel free to kiss it. Just kidding. Love you guys. Hope you're doing good. Martin Luther King, this is your day. I'm sorry that groups like Black Lives Matter and all the liberal whites have squandered all of the things that you fought for so gallantly. You were a remarkable person, and I know that you would be disgusted with what Black America has done, with the efforts that you made and things you gave your life for. LMS Tactical, I'm out.